Hi,
Hi.
how are you after being not seeing you for 4 hours?
It was a really long 4 hours without you.
I believe it.
But
Honestly, I know I am the highlight of your life. So, ooh,
oh, showing us your
pardon.
whole house. No, seeing you again is the highlight of my day. So,
As it should be. Um,
what?
sorry, I just see an ear.
Oh, there's Jackson in the
Look at
bottom of
your
the camera.
babies.
Hi, Jackie Poos. You doing, your puppy?
Haley, you're frozen.
Ashlyn? Awkward. Awkward.
I have no idea what just happened.
You said, Haley, your throat. And then you died, and I didn't see you anymore.
I love this. I'm gonna just run a quick little speed test. See if it's me.
I guess I could also run a speed test.
I'm gonna definitely say it's some degraded performance for sure, for sure. Yeah.
It's not me, girl. Oh, I thought you were frozen.
It says your internet connection is unstable.
Wow.
So, fun fact, my download speed, do you know what it's supposed to usually be?
How much do you pay for?
Like in the hundreds. It's supposed to be like 3 to 400 in the download speed.
What you at right now, 10?
1.69.
If it makes you feel better, we pay for a gig and I'm getting 240.
I don't know.
But this
I
is
think I
also
pay,
Wi-Fi. It's not Ethernet, so you're
I don't
never
even
going to
have
get.
an Ethernet. Yeah, I don't, well, this is fun.
So yeah, if you freeze, that's fine. So everyone, we are recording on Zoom like we normally do. So if we lose Ashlyn, we will just try to reconnect. So there may be a few gaps in the video and audio as Ashlyn's internet connection is unstable.
I love this for us,
I
me
love it.
specifically.
Love it for you.
I do just want to let you know I got a real pop socket.
You texted me that. I'm proud of you.
I'm also very proud of me. For those that don't know, I had a very crap that was not even a pop socket before. It was some knockoff of a pop socket and it was horrible. And now I have this and I am thrilled. And so is Jackson.
Yeah, he's very much showing his thrill, rolling on the ground.
Wow, look at him go.
Yeah, he's showing off for the camera, that's for sure.
That is for sure, for sure.
Well, welcome
Well,
back.
yeah, thank you so much. Glad to be here, glad to be back. I did try to make myself a little bit brighter because you at least have some light on your face, but
My desk
I
lamp.
I do not have any.
That's okay. And for those who forget, I'm Ashlyn. I'm not Ashlyn.
Oh my gosh, that's what I did at your wedding. At your speech, I said, so for those that don't know, I'm Haley. And then I was like,
Did you?
I did.
Um,
Did you not watch the video? You didn't
Maybe I
watch the
did.
video of my
I've
speech?
watched your speech several times, but I'm more focused on the other parts. For those who may not know yet, I am Haley. That
And
is Ashlyn.
I am Ashlyn, or also known as Haley Ashlyn. It just depends on the day.
I guess we're interchangeable at this point in life.
Retweet. Well, welcome back to another episode of Bookaholics podcast.
Where we are two
Great.
girls
We are two girls
reading
with too many
too many
books.
books.
And ain't that a fact? Okay, so I went on a cruise, 2 weeks ago or whenever
To Alaska.
to Alaska. Highly recommend. It was nice and chilly, and I really appreciated that. Very challenging to come back to 90-degree weather.
Hey, we're in the
The
80s now.
Now we are, but
It's
we weren't when I came
82
back.
outside.
It's
Actually,
81 here,
yeah, it's
so
82 outside.
it's 81.
This morning it
Anyway,
was it was like a nice 50 degrees this morning. Okay, keep
it was
going.
beautiful. You woke up far too early for me. I literally heard my phone buzz in my sleep. I don't know how that happened. And I rolled over, checked the time, saw that message from Haley now. And I was like, it is like 6 a.m. on
Yeah,
a Saturday.
because I can't sleep in. You know, I'm at that age where I just wake up on the weekends like I normally do when I'm going to work, and my wake up time is 6 o'clock. I did wake up like clockwork and went to the bathroom and tried to get back in bed, and Groot, my wiener dog, decided, no, we have to go outside and go potty. So, you know, I basically got up.
Yeah, he said, "You're up now, so you're up now." Um, but any whoosies, on my cruise, I read like two and a half books and then came back, and Haley was like, "Okay, but were any of those books the one we need to read?" And I said,
No.
"No."
Why would it be? Why would you read the book that we had picked out to read?
It's a great question. Quite frankly, the answer is because I have a shit ass memory and I have to read them so close to us recording, or else I will not remember a single thing about it.
Hmm.
Isn't it great? It's fun being me.
Right. I mean, we both did finish the book yesterday,
Last night, yes.
last night.
Um, to be fair, I had read it previously as a
Yes.
caveat, so it's kind of hard for me to be like super surprised by things because I already knew. But I do have a crap memory and I did forget a few things, and that was nice to just be like, OMG, that's right. That did happen. Um,
So we are recording today, which is the first day of Halloween. It is. It's the first day of Halloween. This whole month is Halloween. It's October. This is my favorite time of the year. Halloween's my favorite holiday. So we are recording on a Saturday. It's October 1st. And just a refresher, we decided to read Gothicana by
I don't know how to say her name.
RuNyx.
Yeah. Mhm.
RuNyx, maybe. Pronunciation not quite 100% on, but it was Gothicana because it gave us spooky vibes, and we are ready for spooky season.
Correct. As a quick synopsis, I won't say too much because I don't want to give anything away.
If
Long
you
story
haven't read
short,
it.
if you haven't read it, yeah. It's a student teacher romance, which is my fave. It is a dark gothic romance, which is another one of my fave categories. And it's basically about this student, but she's older. I mean, she's basically like senior age of college. She's 21, and she's going to university for the first time up on this mysterious mountain to this mysterious school where it's like a bunch of misfits, basically, like people who didn't really belong anywhere. And she and this teacher have a thing. Basically spooky. I don't know how far I can really
I
go
mean,
with this synopsis without telling
add in like
too much.
supernatural stuff plus like crime mystery plus death. We may have just lost Ashlyn for a minute. But yeah, her synopsis was great. It is very spooky. There's a fine line between on if this is supernatural or if it's more like mental. So if you're into that kind of book, you would enjoy this. So I'm going to pause and see if we can get Ashlyn's internet connection back, and then we will proceed recording. We got Ashlyn back. We're back.
Yay.
Her
Sorry.
internet is behaving. So, Ashlyn, let's go ahead and move into ratings for this book before we tell people to go away. And because
Okay.
you recommended this book and you enjoyed it, I want you to go first and tell us your rating and then your spiciness rating.
So, as a recap, I have read this before. Second recap or reminder is that I rate the spice on what is there, not the amount of it. So, the spice that was there, a five. The book overall, a five. Genuinely, my favorite category. I really did enjoy the dark of it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sorry, you're not moving a lot, and I thought I froze again. I
I
was
guess
like, oh no.
I'll keep moving so that you know that you're not frozen.
Just like a little bit, like just small things that I can understand. Anyway, I gave it a five overall and then a five for smut.
Okay. So I will agree with you on the spiciness rating being a 5 out of 5. Um, there's a whole lot of it. And honestly, the scenes are very well written. I will say there were some scenes that were not quite my favorite, but I still left it a 5 because some people are into that. So I was like, all right, it's got it. Overall, the book, I did have some personal problems enjoying it. I realized I'm not a huge dark romance person. Thought I was, but as I was reading it, maybe it's more the gothic aspect.
Maybe.
I wasn't digging the gothic vibe. I do like dark romance, I think. So I may have to reevaluate that. I was going to rate it a 3 out of 5. However, there is a lot in this book that happens. And I will just say that there are some things that caught me off guard that bumped this book up to a 4 for me. And I'm not going to spoil anything if you have not read this book. We will discuss why I rated it a 4 later. But I did enjoy the parts of the book that caught me off guard and made me go, oh, I just see it made me inhale saliva. I actually gasped while I was reading it and sat up like straighter in my chair. So overall, 4 out of 5. Spicy, 5 out of 5.
So really, honestly, pretty good. Like I thought you were gonna rate it a 3, and I was gonna be very sad, but like I get it because you're not really into the gothic slash
Which I
dark.
didn't know. But yeah, I really was going to rate it a 3 up until I got to that one part and I was like,
I'm glad.
I
I'm
was
glad there
like,
was redeeming.
okay, it's a 4 now. It's a 4. Just
Okay,
that plot
so
part.
yes. Okay, so as per usual, if you haven't read it, that's our synopsis. Those are our ratings. GTFO, come back after you've read it.
If you're sticking
Um,
around, all bets are off and we're about to do all the spoiler
spoiled.
alerts.
Yes, the whole thing is going to be spoiled. Alrighty. So let's just start with it. Why the 4? What did you not like?
Okay. 1, I was expecting spookiness. I was not expecting mental health. So I think that's I get why they had mental health in that in it, but coming from like a medical background, I don't like reading about it.
See, I probably should have said, like, in my IMO, in my opinion, I feel like it's very spooky because there are just like murder and like very, in in my opinion, spooky aspects. But like, yes, I do. I should have probably said it's not super.
Pause.
Sorry, what I was saying is, in my opinion, it's pretty spooky because it's got the murder aspect and like just some pretty like the bathroom scene was scary when I was reading it.
Yeah, yeah.
For someone who doesn't work in the medical field and does not have schizophrenia or anything along those lines, I was like,
I think that's part of the reason why I didn't enjoy it because I was looking at it as a more of like a medical perspective and I was like this girl's got schizophrenia. Like this is like she needs help. So I think it was more of I was like is this actually spooky? I was like I just think this girl's legit crazy. And if you have schizophrenia, like, I'm sorry. No, I think she was mentally unstable and she needed something. So I think that's why I wasn't enjoying it as much.
but see, and again, in my opinion, like it was very much like to me spooky because even if she's schizophrenia, like schizophrenic, how would she know things are happening on the tower? How would she have a vibe to go to the tower at that
That's
time? She's
true.
like following a shadow. Like that's where the spooky comes into me because it's never it's even in the end, it's like the doctor's like, pay attention to her, but he never outright says she has schizophrenia like her mom.
No, he says that she doesn't, which is also what was throwing me through a loop because she's clearly hearing voices.
Like
But
at least Mo.
no,
I
Mo,
mean,
but then, okay, please explain to me the other voice that popped up at the very, very end that I don't remember them ever talking about, but it was when she was like trapped in that hypnotic cold. There was like that other voice in her head that was going against Mo. What was that? Did they ever talk
I
about
don't
that voice before now?
I don't believe so. I think it was just kind of like I think it was drug induced personally. Like the thing that whatever she like blew whatever that drug was, I think that's probably what was causing that just because she already had some sort of I'm not going to say psychic ability, but like some sort of something going on in her head. I think that just kind of like spurred another voice.
Mm-hmm. The and then okay, so going back, the other reason why I was going with a 3 first, she was giving me really big Bella vibes.
Okay.
She
All
was very
right.
much like, woe is me, I never fit in with anybody. And she's like, I'm not going to talk to them even though they're talking to me. And I don't know if that was the gothic aspect of it, but I was like, girl, come on, they were trying to be your friends. And
Yeah.
then they killed Troy, and I was done. I
I
think
know.
I
I do know
texted
that was
you.
pretty
I
heartbreak.
like
Yeah.
after that happened, this book just went downhill because I know they foreshadowed it. And she said, like, an author's biggest thing is that they can have a death of a character in, like, the perfect spot and it has, like, all the meaning. Like, she foreshadowed that someone was going to die. Why did it have to be Troy? Because that did not make me like this book.
Because he was like a likable character. Like, who would you have rather?
Jax.
I don't disagree. Like, yeah, Jax would have been better, but the whole reason is to make you feel something. If it had been Jax, we would have been like, meh,
I felt anger and, like, DNFing the book.
okay. Jesus. Okay, well, here's what I will say. I think it speaks very highly of an author to make me actually feel
Mm-hmm.
anger towards something. Like, if I mean, it takes a lot for me to DNF a book, like, it really does, but considering I rated it a 5, obviously that was never going to happen. But yeah, no, I mean, like, just shout out to, I'm gonna call her R. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna call her R. Shout out to R for making me feel a lot of emotions during this book, especially when it got to the her like when they're at the lake, this like super dark black lake, and she's like hearing all of these voices that are like, help me. And I'm like, I'm just, and especially because it's never outright said. R never says she has any abilities. She's some sort of, you know what I mean? Like, she's hearing these things and they are telling her things. Like, how else would she have known to drag the lake?
Right.
She knew where the bodies were. How would she know that?
And
How did she know
crazy.
there was the real Jade in the house? Like, how, like, all of these things,
She
it
didn't know the
just,
real Jade was in the house.
I mean, that's true, but she,
She knew
like, because
the
they all
yeah.
saw the silhouette, which I was a little bit confused on the timeline. I will say that. I was like,
I got the
was
timeline.
Jade the silhouette?
No, Jade was never alive while they were there. Jade was going to the university her very first year when she was intercepted by Crazy Girl and killed. And then Crazy Girl did live as that first year as Jade and ran off and then came back. So she was there for the 2 years. Crazy
So then
Girl.
what was the silhouette?
I don't know. See, there are still things that weren't explained. Like they
And
didn't
like,
explain the black ball, people
yes, Roy
disappearing,
disappearing. They never explain. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of,
loopholes, plot
well,
holes.
just, yeah, just like unfinished business. Like, and I the first, I guess, okay, so the second time I was reading it, again, I already read it. The second time I was reading it, for some reason I had thought that Jade, crazy Jade, had like kidnapped Roy. Like, I thought
Mm-hmm.
she had something to do with it. And then the second time I was reading it, when Jade, crazy Jade, said no, I liked her, I was like, wait, then what the heck?
Yeah.
I was like, then what, how did she, it's still a disappearance every 5 years. And like, what is this like blood ink moon that they're talking about? How does that come into play?
I guess that's when the spirits that are actually there are strong enough to make people disappear. I think that that's what they were going with because it said that that's when you can draw the most power. So I just didn't know if like the grandfather who like had his witchy girlfriend killed in the Slayers and she draws on the power of the ink moon to then make people disappear every 5 years. I don't know if that's what she was trying to infer, but there was no like resolution. So
Yeah,
I just
agreed.
felt like,
I'm like, so it's going to happen in another 5 years?
yeah,
I'm like, especially at the end with the epilogues when she was like, now we're going back to Barrymore. I was like,
I didn't like the epilogues at all. Normally, I
but there's
love an
still,
epilogue, but I didn't like. I didn't like the. I felt like it would just like happen like, whew, real fast, and I was like, okay. But then, yeah, I didn't get any closure with this book. I will say the plot twist though of Jade being the bad guy and not actually being Jade, that's what bumped it from a 3 to a 4. I had no idea,
I didn't
not
either.
one inkling, and that's the part that had me gasping and like sitting up on the couch, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Because like, even like, R never even hints toward it being
Mm-mm.
Jade.
Because
Like,
she's sobbing over Troy. Like, that made me sad. She's been sleeping in the mental health, the health wing.
yeah. And after her last roommate, like, yeah, that it was never hinted that, honestly, it was never hinted that it was anybody in particular. Like,
Right.
it was hinted that they just mysteriously decided to commit suicide that day. Like, there was no foul play originally in the book.
Yeah, I will say they were trying to make you think that maybe Vad. Okay, do you call him Vad or Vod?
Well, Alexa calls him Vaughn. I call
Alexa
him
calls him Vaughn.
bad.
I called him Vad too. They make you I think they want you to think that it's Vad,
I
but
agree.
no part of me ever thought that he was involved.
Agreed.
So I felt like that was, I don't know, trying to force it on me, but I was like, I don't think that it's him at all.
Yes. I will say, reading back through it, I was like, he is so hot and cold in the beginning. Like, I forgot how hot and cold he was. Like, they would have an encounter, and then they'd go weeks with nothing,
Mm-hmm.
totally acting normal, nothing happening. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "You're mine." And I'm like, "What? Please bridge the gap for me. I am confused on how weeks."
Ashlyn, there was also too many P words in this book.
I apologize. Yes, there. I mean, I'm not apologizing because I didn't write it, but yes, for you, I understand.
And it's extremely uncomfortable to have Alexa be reading it to me. And she mispronounces the word.
She does. She says pussy, which I'm like, makes me think of a cyst.
But then she'll say it correctly 2 sentences later. I don't know if you noticed. She went back and forth, and I was like, why are we changing the pronunciation?
I don't know. I don't know that I had heard that, but I didn't listen to her
sorry,
all that much.
sorry. There was one scene. She was reading it to me. It was it was not the car scene. I think it was when they were in the woods and with it against a tree. She didn't pause at all because there was the one part where it was like, I slam, am slam, your slam, madness. But she said it like this. She goes, I slam, am slam, your slam, madness slam. I was like,
I actually think I listened to her for that too, and I was like, "What's happening?"
I had
I
to
think,
pause
yeah.
it, and I pulled it up on my Kindle, and I was like, oh.
Sometimes I had to go to Kindle to
Cause
clarify. I was
yeah,
like,
most of the time she was really good. Like for a free audiobook, like she's really good. She even changed the voices for some of the characters and had some emotion in a few of the paragraphs. But that part, I was like, oh no, girl, we got to work on this because that is not how it is to be read. But it made me laugh.
yes, that's fair. I mean, it's nothing against the book.
No,
It's just
it was
Alexa.
just her narrating. Like it was comical. But all the scenes, as I said, were very, very well written scenes.
Agreed. I will I will say the first scene in the car.
In the rain.
Yes, and I was like, wow, you're really just gonna do her like that. For her first time. I was like, well, this is very romantic.
It said she screamed. I was like, girl, yeah.
I know.
And then
Yeah.
he even made a comment. See, I had a very love hate relationship with Bad because he was very unlikable at times. And then other times I was like, all right, I'm down. But he was like, you picked the wrong person to have your first time with or something. I was like, bro,
I was like,
come
don't
on.
tell her that right before she's gonna do
Okay,
it.
but like, come on. Have like a little kindness in you. You don't have to always be this gruff, mean guy. But yeah,
Yes.
that part I was like, we're not friends, Bad. You did her
No,
wrong.
the part where I was like, are you kidding me? Is after, okay, so they were in his room. She just had a full-blown panic attack, and he's like, I'm going to work out. Bye. I was
Yes.
like, I was like, wow, stellar boyfriend alert. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because as someone who has anxiety attacks, I would not want like that's a very rough thing to go through. And so yeah, he like basically calmed her down and was like, "Deuces." No, when I
Yeah, I
have
was
one,
like,
I make Matt sit in the room with me afterwards, and I usually like watch something like lighthearted and funny, and he brings me snacks. So
which is what I anticipated was going to happen. And then he was like,
there
I'm
was
going to go work out. And I was
no
like, are you
comforting.
kidding?
Yeah, no comforting. I was like, wow.
I was like, your immaturity is showing because all I'm going to say is he's only 28. And typically, the student professor books I read,
They're like in their 40s.
30s to 40s. And I was like, okay, listen, you picked R, you picked 28. Sure. Have you met a 28-year-old, ma'am? Because they're not that
I mean, we are 28.
mature.
We're not. We're 27.
My last boyfriend was 28. And I was like, I guess there are some men who mature faster. To be fair, he did go through a lot when he was younger, which I do think forces you to kind of become mature, especially because he probably killed his grandfather, but it's never actually said.
Ashlyn, oh my god, you just said your previous boyfriend was 28, and then you started describing Vad without differentiating that you are no longer talking about your ex boyfriend.
I'm
And then
so
you
sorry.
said he killed his grandfather. You have to say, now I'm talking about Vad, because I was like, holy
Sorry.
crap.
Sorry, sorry.
Her ex
All
did
of
not
that
kill
was
his grandfather.
no, he did not. Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. So yeah, sorry. Differentiating. All I was saying was that my ex-boyfriend is 28 and that maturity is not there. And then the rest is bad, where he went through a hard time. Like he was raised, in this foster home that burned down and all this other stuff. Probably killed his grandfather, but it's never actually said. So I
Definitely killed
mean,
him.
it definitely killed him. I just, again, a lot of like loose ends that I wish she had, like, because he said, okay, she said, if you can't tell me something, just say you can't tell me, which I respect, by the way. And then she asks, what happened to your grandfather? And he goes, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, sure, but y'all were just starting the date and I want an answer to that. So at the end of the book, how about you tell me what happened to your grandfather?
Or she would, okay. It bothered me that she did like a slight dual POV. Everything was
Yeah,
from Corvina's perspective, and then there was the random chapter that was like a they them ambiguous. Like, was that supposed to be
being
Jade, or was that supposed to be a spirit?
unsure.
And then we had like maybe one or two chapters from Vad, and then the final, like his pro epilogue.
Yeah,
That really bugged me. I was like, if we're gonna do a dual POV, let's do dual POV. Otherwise, everything needs to be from Corvina's, because otherwise, it felt choppy to me to
like,
have
yeah,
like random bits, especially if I wasn't gonna get anything else about Vad, because I too wanted to know. I wanted to know for sure about the grandfather, and I wanted to know what he was doing to investigate, because he didn't really say anything. He said he was gonna be at Vermore to figure out what was going on, but like, what were you doing, bro, to figure it out? Taking walks in the
teaching.
woods,
Yes,
hitting on your student,
yes,
and then they still went back to Vermore, and he didn't know who was doing the disappearings of the ball, because Roy definitely disappeared. So
definitely. I'm just
he,
glad they found her.
based on that plot line, he's supposed to remain a teacher because someone disappeared at the black ball. So I'm getting heated
I
again.
also liked, yeah, in the Black Lake, like when, first off, I just want to quickly say shout out to Ajax. I really like this
Oh,
character.
I loved Ajax,
But when she was all, bad Ajax, I found something, come here.
and Ajax is like,
This is the end. Yeah, and he's like huffing it. And then when she jumps in and they both feel something on them,
that part was creepy. I will
I was reading
admit,
that last night and I was like,
but I
I
think
need to be
I
reading
was
this against a
still
wall.
creeped out because that happened, and then in the same chapter, at the end of that chapter, was when you found out that Jade was actually dead. So I think the lake, I just got goosebumps again. The lake, and feeling like they both thought they weren't going to get out of the lake, and then Jade died 2 years ago. It was like, holy crap. Again, that's why it bumped up.
Yes. Yeah. And I just was like, so there were divers diving in this lake for 3 days. Did any of them feel anything grab them? Like, I know it's never really talked about, so
Yeah.
maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but like, you know what I mean? It's like this whole lake itself is very mysterious.
But I think the author too just had so many different things going on, because even Vad said the story of the lake was it the witch that like
Yeah,
trapped
with the
all the
snakes.
snakes with her hair and like took her lover to the bottom of the lake. So I was like, is that the story, or is it the slayers? I felt like there were so many different things going on. I was like, I don't know what to think besides Jade is not Jade and the bad guy. So
Fair. That's fair. It was a very complex story.
it
Like
was.
it was not just a simple
It could have
point
been a
A, point
duet
B.
book. I feel like
It could have.
it really, if like she split it into two different books and had like everything kind of spelled out into both, I feel like that would have been really good too.
Absolutely. Like haunting slash hunting Adeline,
Hmm.
which
Sometimes you
you did
just
not
need
like.
to. Well, I liked Haunting just fine. I liked that dark romance. I'm not a fan of what Hunting was about, so I did not read
Fair.
it.
That's fair. To be fair, I also was not a fan of it, but I wanted closure, so I had to read it. Um,
Hang on.
but yeah, I
I
mean,
hear dogs barking. It's not my dog. It's not my dog.
it's not mine.
No, no, no. Usually, if the neighbor's dogs bark, Groot goes crazy and tries to get through the fence.
I love that for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, overall, I really liked the book. I will say, and I know you said the same thing, the Black Ball orgy was a little out of left field.
That's the one part. That's not my cup of tea. I don't like it when just everyone's going at it.
It was very
That's not me.
it was just weird because it was never like never in the book were they like all of these like pent up sexual horny, to be fair, it is college, so like I get it to an extent,
But
but
at a
like
dance,
it just felt very, especially the like I guess Barrymore, again, never really described. I guess Barrymore provided all of the attire for everybody.
yeah, it said they just took their measurements and they were going to get dresses.
Yeah, so I was just like, what in the hell is happening? Why is there now an orgy? I just don't understand. This is so
That's another
random.
thing I was very confused about because I was like, are they under a spell? Is this part of the black ball? Is that why Roy?
Is it the ink
I
moon?
keep wanting to say Roy. Is that
This is
why
not Gilmore
Roy
Girls.
just like disappeared because like everyone was in a trance? But then Vad and Corvina were fine because they just like walked off.
Left. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like orgies. I didn't like that I didn't know what was going on. If you like an orgy, you can read that scene. Like it's pretty. It's a not like super explicit, but there's like some stuff going on that she describes, and I was like, okay, I am uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Let's
It was
move.
it was just like I said, it just felt very out of like left field. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
just don't understand where it came from. Like, why weren't they just
Well,
dancing? It's a ball.
I think because she had that dream earlier about like the vampires in the orgy, that then the author was like, all right, now let's make it real. And I was like, okay, but that's not a vampire. I was really thinking that he was gonna be a vampire next. I was like,
Oh,
where's the next twist? Because she dreamt that he was a vampire, and now
I
there's an
mean, yeah.
orgy, and I was like, okay, so
To be fair, the name Bad definitely feels vampire-esque. Like,
vampiric.
um, yeah, I also was like, okay, girl, I know you've been homeschooled your whole life and you don't really have friends or literally a social life to speak of. Why, what is the choice to only wearing skirts and dresses?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think it's
very,
the gothic thing, the
is
gothic
it?
aspect. I think
It's
so.
just very interesting. I mean, props for her
I mean, I
to
don't like
live her
putting on
best.
pants either, but leggings are
Yeah,
a
yeah,
go-to.
yeah.
I will say I loved that she could read tarot cards, and
Spooky.
I enjoyed that whole scene where like everyone was just coming over and she was just like pulling cards for everyone, and I thought it was a really good scene for Vad and her secretly telling each other that they loved them
I agree.
because like he's still shocked. I love it when people make like shocking declarations about loving each other. Like it makes me tingle. And so for him to say that and the whole student body was like, what? He's seeing
Yeah.
someone. I enjoyed that whole scene.
Yeah, for me, it was the taboo aspect of like, y'all are literally declaring your love, and not one single person here knows that y'all
Mm-hmm.
are talking about each other. I'm like, I love that. Another reason I like the student teacher thing. I'm into it.
I, real quick, did not like that she had purple eyes. I'm just
Did you
gonna,
like that he had silver eyes?
no, I
You
didn't like
didn't like
it.
it because it's not real.
It's not real. I believe in ghosts. I do. I believe in ghosts and all that kind of stuff. You cannot have purple eyes. I'm sorry. Show me a picture of someone with purple eyes.
I could, but they are probably wearing
Contacts.
contacts.
So yeah, I mean, I wish it was something like bright green or like bright blue, but
It's spooky, Haley. I
okay.
mean, a lot of these things aren't realistic.
I'm a very literal person a lot of the
I
time.
I personally don't hear voices in my head, especially ones that are telling me things that are important, like getting to a tower to prevent a death.
Mm.
So, you know,
I just think she was in the
things.
right place at the right time.
Okay. Sure, yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, overall into it. I liked it.
I'm
I
so
even liked
glad.
the epilogues that you didn't like.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I am LOLing that this 28-year-old decided to get a vasectomy. Why? Are you dating
Hurt.
someone?
All I'm saying is props to him.
Okay,
That's
but
all I have to
wait.
say.
But wait, there's more. He got a vasectomy before he started dating Corvina. And then in the epilogue, he's like, I reversed my vasectomy. I just watched the Office episode of the dinner party where Michael and Jan are fighting about his vasectomies, and she's like, I think I want kids. And he's like, Jan, I have gotten a vasectomy, reversed the vasectomy, gotten the vasectomy again, reversed it again, snip, snap, snip, snap. And I was like, all right, bad, snip, snap, snip, snap. But yeah, I just laughed that this guy got a vasectomy, and he had no reason to, because apparently he wasn't.
If I had to guess, it's because he had a very traumatic past. His bloodline's not great. His grandfather's a serial killer, and he probably just did not want to reproduce.
Yeah, he wants to reproduce with Corvina, who may very well become a crazy schizophrenic and pass it on to their children.
You know what? To each their own.
Have
As long as
fun.
the kid is not dangerous.
I
Okay?
mean, props to him for sticking it out with her, because that's a lot to take on. If you
I
decide
mean,
to
but
date
she,
anybody who has like something like that or any major medical problem, like you had to really care about that about someone. Sorry,
I
my
mean,
blanket.
to be fair, he knew about her.
Yeah,
Like, it's not like he didn't know going in. Like he knew he met her, or not met her, but like found out about her when she checked herself into the hospital.
yeah. That's why I said props to
Like the
him. Like
menstrual, yeah.
he's stuck with it.
So it's not like, I don't, I'm not saying it's different per se, but it's like if you were already dating somebody and then you found out, you're like, this is a lot to process. But like
Mm-hmm.
he already knew. So it's like he'd already thought about it. I assume already thought about the consequences should they reproduce and or with her future. Um, a lot big decisions to make for a 28-year-old. um, yeah,
That's all I gotta say about that book.
I think that wraps it up pretty nicely.
Yeah. So I was just thinking though, if if we could do like suggestions, like if they liked this book, another one they could read.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I wish you'd told me this before we started because I would
Well,
have
I
thought
was
about
just
some.
thinking about it because we were talking about student teacher relationships with the guy being older, or like the haunting hunting Adeline duet, which
Hmm.
is very dark and we will probably not discuss on this channel. But if you like that dark romance, Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton.
HD
Yeah,
Carlton.
I said H.D.
Oh, I heard G. So sorry.
H.D. as in dog, Carlton. It's a
Yes.
duet series. It's very dark. Lots of triggers. So read the trigger warning page. But Ashlyn, with this being very
Yes.
much your trope, are there any like amazing student teacher books?
Are there. You just hold your little horses. I'm trying to pull up my notes that have all of my books on it.
Because
But I
next
can't. There it
month
is.
we are doing another student teacher, aren't we?
I don't remember what we had decided.
Beautiful mistake.
Oh,
Is that a
yes.
student teacher?
No, I think that's a boss.
Oh, sorry. Not student teacher.
Um, I should ask you though, after reading this one, while it wasn't your favorite, would you be open to reading more student teacher?
Yes. If it's in college. I do not want that like very close like 18 line. I don't want jailbait
Fair,
books.
fair, fair.
Yeah, I think very
Um,
much like I loved the love hypothesis, even though she was not his student, but she was like in grad school and he was a professor. I like that. I like them to be a little bit older, but the
Yes.
guy can definitely be old. I'll take an old guy.
Um, okay, so I'm gonna have I have several. I have several different types for different things that happen in this book. So if you like the witchy vibes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little more cutesy, not so dark, the X Hex.
We talked about doing that one, but we chose to do Gothicana for October instead. I do want to
Yes.
read the X Hex.
The X Hex is very good. Highly recommend. It's definitely not as dark by any means. It's very surface level, but it is a very cute, quick read. Um, if you're into student teacher, as I am, I have lots, but I have one specific recommendation that I just read not too long ago that highly recommend. Um, it's called Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. It is also a student teacher. I will say it's mildly dark, but not by much. It's like, I believe he is her music teacher. It's like which if you're not in Texas, this wouldn't make sense, but it's like a Booker T. Washington, where it's like a fine art school,
Like Juilliard.
like Juilliard.
Like a fine
Yes.
arts school. Yeah.
Yes. So, good note, or yeah, good dark notes, pardon, by Pam Godwin. Highly recommend. If you want just a regular student teacher, God, there's so many. Oh God, I'm trying to find one that I would like really highly recommend versus some that I was like, yeah, it was all right. Um, I may have to get back to you on finding my favorite. Her Perfect was very good. Also deals with mental health. Um,
By, put the author.
sorry, Stephanie Walls.
Her Perfect by Stephanie Walls.
Yeah, I gave that one a 4 out of 5, but it has a lot of depth to the plot. It's basically where she has been held to this standard her whole life of being perfect, and it really gets to her over time. And it just so happens that her teacher is the one to kind of help her through her anxiety of being this perfect person. Um, highly recommend that one. I feel like those are, I mean,
Yeah, I think
that's
that's
enough.
good.
That's enough.
That's a lot to digest,
Yes.
look into.
Yes. Yes, I would just, and then sure, we'll just do one more just for funsies. For mental health, there is something called Doctor, no, it's called Medicine Man by Saffron A. Kent.
You've told me about that one.
I do highly recommend that one. It's about a psychiatric patient and her doctor.
Oh.
It's not, I mean, it's not like she's crazy. It's, you just look it up. Okay, that's a lot of recommendations for me. So sorry, just overwhelming your TBR.
I think you got real excited about that. I was thinking maybe like one or two, but you were like, yeah, let's go.
Okay, it's because you put me on the spot. I would have narrowed it down to be like, these one or two are the best two. Okay, so moving forward, if we choose to do this, which I totally am down for,
yes,
I will do my research ahead of time and come with my two best.
for like tropes or like certain aspects of each book we read. We can give some recommendations for if you liked this, you might like this one.
Yes, I like that.
Okay. But
okay,
next month, November, we did decide we were going to do Beautiful Mistake by V. Keeland. And I have the synopsis pulled up on my phone. So I wanted to read it to you really fast. Ashlyn, this is a student-teacher relationship.
Oh, I'm so not upset about it. I thought it was a boss.
No, it's student-teacher. Okay, so listen. This is the synopsis from Goodreads. It says, the first time I met Kane West was in a bar. He noticed me looking his way and mistakenly read my scowling as checking him out. When he attempted to talk to me, I set him straight, telling him what I thought of his lying, cheating, egomaniacal ass. You see, the gorgeous jerk had wined and dined my best friend, smooth-talking her into his bed, all along failing to mention that he was married. He deserved every bit of my tongue-lashing and more for what he'd done, especially when that lazy smile graced his perfect face in response to my rant. Only, it turned out, the man I just told off wasn't the right guy. Oops. My mistake. Embarrassed, I slunk out without an apology. I was never going to see the handsome stranger again anyway, right? That's what I thought until I walked into the class next whoa, until I walked into class the next morning. Well, hello, Professor West. I'm your new teaching assistant. I'll be working under you, figuratively speaking. Although the literal interpretation might not be such a bad thing, working under Professor West. This is going to be interesting. So, yeah, it is a student teacher, but teaching assistant and professor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm into it.
yes.
I'm already, listen, if I didn't have to read these other two books, I would read that right now.
And, oh, just a reminder, we are still going to be reading Fantasy Lover by Sherilyn Kenyon, and that will be on Patreon later this month.
Yes.
So, Beautiful Mistake by V. Keeland. I don't know if I've already put the picture up, but I'll put the picture up on the video if you want to look at it. And then Fantasy Lover by Sherilyn Kenyon, still in October to come.
Yes. So to close this out, do you have something good that happened to you this week, month?
I mean, honestly, it's October, so this whole month is great. I got into the attic today and pulled out all of my Halloween stuff and all of my fall boxes, and they're just in my front foyer waiting for me to unpack them, so I'm like really excited.
Wow. Okay. Well, I love that for you. I have brought out all my fall stuff, but not necessarily Halloween.
Well, some of my neighbors already have Halloween decorations up, so I'm taking that as a we're gonna decorate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I would too. Okay, well, my good thing, which is really not all that to celebrate, but for the first time since before February, Jackson got groomed.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I could not be happier. He has abandoned me. I don't know where he is, but he looks like a rat dog now because I said to my groomer, Sean, I said, just shave him and do everything you physically can.
For those that need to know this, Jackson is a Yorkie poo. He is also slightly vicious.
He has extreme PTSD. I don't know what happened, but at one of his grooming appointments prior to Sean, they really fucked him up some way. I don't know what they did, but they definitely scarred him for life. And you can't even like touch his paws and like ooh, what is the hair in between your pads without him trying to bite you.
Like Ashlyn has tried to groom him at home and like shave his paws down or like shave his legs, and he goes crazy. Like he tries to bite her, and she's his mom. So now the only groomer that will touch Jackson is Sean. And he did shave him. So Jackson looks like he's 10 pounds lighter with all that fluff off of him. And you can actually see his face. And he's a really cute little rat.
He is a cute little rat. Yeah, he is. I don't even know where he is, but he is a cute little rat. He's got a little rat tail. Poor Sean said I had to shave his tail twice. I was like, yeah, it was pretty matted. But he left with all his fingers.
Good. Sorry, I just thought of one other thing. I'm really excited because Hocus Pocus 2 has finally come out, and I have not watched it yet because Ashlyn is coming to my house next weekend and we're doing a sleepover, and I'm so excited. And we're going to watch Hocus Pocus 2 and eat Halloween snacks and relive our childhood and probably record Fantasy Lover at that time.
Can we watch Halloween Town too?
We're going to watch everything on Disney Plus that's Halloween related. I'm going to put,
yes!
Like, we're just going to constantly stream all day, and Matt's just going to have to deal with it.
I love that.
My nails are even black because I love Halloween.
I agreed. So I will just, I think maybe we record first and then we don't have to worry about it and we can just like veg.
Yeah. So you guys will see us at our finest before we turn into couch pumpkins.
Oh, couch pumpkins.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's everything. So
yeah, follow us on all the things, Bookaholics Podcast.
Instagram, Twitter, email. We have a TikTok. Patreon. Honestly, we have a TikTok.
No, we haven't posted anything.
We haven't posted anything because I got to figure out how to do it well.
I'm like, you can follow us there, but eventually we'll get around to posting. Hopefully, maybe. Yeah, so follow us on all the things. If you have any book recommendations, shout us out, or not shout us out, shout out to us via all of the channels. Um, and yeah, we'll catch you next month. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.